So Nancy and I here on Big Blend Radio love Second Fridays because we get to chat with members of the International Food, Wine, Travel Writers Association. That means food, wine, travel writers, authors, and the destinations. And today we're welcoming back Chris Cutler. She's a writer, and she has a love affair with Italy. Last time she was on our show was back in November of 2019. And she was talking about authentic Italy and talking about the places she's been to, and just told us all kinds of really cool, fun facts about places, things that we just really didn't even know about these communities she was talking about. Really awesome conversation, awesome article. You can still find it on blendradioandtv.com. But today she's joining us to talk about 5 Italian foods that you won't find in Italy, which is interesting because you're going to find them here.
It is.
And there's going to be a reason how they all changed. And her article is up on blendradioandtv.com. You can find that. Just go there in the search box. But you also want to follow her. Go to coldpastaandredwine.com. She's our type of gal. And also go to her other website, chriscutler.com. She's a photographer. Her photos of Italy are amazing. And we're just so excited to have her back. And I do want to give a shout-out to the International Food, Wine, Travel Writers Association. If you're a destination or a writer, photographer, author, go to ifwtwa.org and also follow the hashtag IFWTWA if you love good food and travel and wine stories. So, Chris, welcome back.
Why, thank you. And you know what? You mentioned about the chocolate spilling and the molasses spilling, but you completely forgot about the Prosecco spill that happened 2 years ago in Veneto, near Venice, where they make Prosecco, and they had overfilled the silos, so they spilled 8,000 gallons of Prosecco.
I want a ticket. I want to go.
So why couldn't they meet? Why couldn't we have chocolate and Prosecco on the same street? Like, wouldn't that would be that would be Valentine's Day for me.
Perfect.
Oh my gosh, we should do a show. Great food spills.
I know, food spills. Like, that would be a good one, Nancy. I like that. Chris, now today is National Noodle Day, which I got the giggles about, and then started looking it up online. And Nancy's like, "It's not what you think it is," and it's not. Like, now would that be considered an Italian idea?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Who comes
I've
up with
never
these
seen
things?
it. I don't know. To be perfectly honest with you, I don't know, and I don't want to know them. I don't think.
I know.
I suspect it's commercialized to some point of companies who try to it's also like National Craft Cheese Day, whatever.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, so I think it starts with that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, probably. Although I will say, when I was in where was I? I was in Palermo, and I ordered some kind of a baked spaghetti, and it was horrible. They had put it in like a 13 by 9 pan, and it was already cooked and already made, and then they put it in this pan and basically baked it until it was black. It was the worst thing I've ever had over there, to be honest with you.
Oh, wow.
Don't want to try that again.
Oh, wow. Well, there you go. Hey,
it's
good to know.
But now, okay, pasta and noodles, I mean, we think of Italy immediately, so that really all ties in, but I don't, so is pasta invented in Italy? Let's just get down to the basics before we start talking about, the places we have here or the food we have here that's not really, always Italian.
No,
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say we met a gentleman from Naples, Italy, and he's got the Lafayette Inn in Easton, Pennsylvania, and we're supposed to talk about the inn in Easton, and the first thing I said was, well, do you complain about pizza everywhere? He goes, yes. That's it. It was all about the pizza for me. Yeah.
Well, a lot of people think that the Chinese actually were the ones that discovered, in quotes, pasta. And they were making it from 1100 BC, but the Arabs, Greeks, Turks, Spaniards, Syrians, all ate it even 1,000 years before that.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah. So, it's been around in different forms. And even in Italy, when you go to the north, you go to the south, they have different kinds of pastas. I forget. One time I was trying to look up how many different shapes there are in Italy, and I think it was somewhere in the 250 plus different shapes of pasta.
Oh, that's funny.
But when I was growing up, mostly we ate spaghetti, or we would have sometimes rigatoni, but nothing else. We would have elbow macaroni and soup and stuff like that. But when we had pasta, and we didn't call it pasta, we called it spaghetti or macaroni. That was it. Yeah. And that's what my grandmother came from Italy. That's what she would say. She was going to make some macaron, and she was making spaghetti, basically. So that's what we ate.
Have you ever tried making your own pasta?
Oh, I do. Yes,
cool.
I do.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, 2 years ago, I taught my son how to do it and bought him and his wife a pasta making machine. It's one of those things that you roll the pasta through by hand, and then, it flattens it and then cuts it and everything like that. But I also, in Italy, bought a chitarra, which is this rectangular machine that has all these strings so that it looks like a guitar, hence chitarra. And you roll the flattened pasta over it with a rolling pin, and the strings cut it. And that's from the Abruzzo region. That's the pasta from the Abruzzo region. It's more of a square spaghetti.
Wow.
The long strings are square. It's really good.
Wow.
When I've taken people over there with me, my friend Novelia does a cooking class and teaches them to make the alla chitarra, is what they call it, and it's very good.
Wow.
See, if you come through St. Pete sometime, I'll make you some pasta.
Oh, cool. We can make a video.
You heard it here. We're coming.
We're coming back to Florida. Okay. We love Florida. We've been to Florida a few times. We didn't get to St. Pete's, though. The last time you moved from Vegas to St. Pete's, and so I know we've been all over, too, and it's just like it's a crazy world, like, of travel for some of us and some of us not. It's just one of those interesting times, and I know you've got to be itching at the feet to get to Italy again.
Yes, very much so. It's been difficult. It's been 18 months since I was there, so it's been difficult, with this pandemic and everything. But what are you going to do?
Yeah.
The good news is I've talked to most of my friends, and I have kept in touch through WhatsApp, and they've all been fine.
That's good.
So that's good. Yeah.
Well, I mean, because Italy was one of the first destinations that we heard about on the news being shut as a lockdown, and people like having coffee and people playing music in the street, all opening up their windows and things like that, right? And Italians are like, "What are you talking about? You're going to close me up? I want to go down to the, to the restaurant or that kind of." Especially because don't they really buy everything fresh? So it's like.
Well, yes, and that's funny. My friend Giovanni that owns the B&B in Bologna. His wife and two sons went down to the Abruzzo region where her mother's from. They went to this small town. I forget the name of it. And Giovanni thought, well, I'll go down and see them for the weekend. So he went down, I don't know, Thursday or Friday. He drove down from Bologna. It's about a 3-4 hour drive or so. And while he was there, they closed the country. And you were not allowed to leave where you were. So they're stuck on this little, I don't want to say stuck, but they're on this little hill town, of 50 people in remote Abruzzo. And he told me in the beginning they were not allowed to even go to the grocery. Down the mountain into the grocery, they had a vendor come with fresh food daily for people to buy.
Wow.
And then the gardens, eventually, this was all in the spring, of course, so then the gardens eventually bloomed and they were able to pick things from there. And, I said to him, my God, how did you survive? And he actually loved it. because he said, it got them back. It got them out of that world of 24/7 work and stuff like that, and they had to slow down.
Oh.
And they were back in nature. He sent me a photo of one of the zoos, and he had a knife next to it. It was probably twice the size of the knife. So I sent him a photo of one I happened to have, and it was, just about as big as the knife, the same size knife. And we laughed about it, but it was difficult. I have a friend that owns a bar, and when you can't sell coffee to people, it's you lose your livelihood. And I mean, the same thing happened here with people that own small businesses and stuff. So they just closed Italy down again a couple of weeks ago, some of the regions, but they were allowed to reopen on the 3rd, I think. So I haven't talked to anybody since the 3rd, except Giovanni. Giovanni wants me to mention that fettuccine Alfredo is not Italian.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
What is it?
Because I did not. I didn't put it in my article. He said, "Why? Why didn't I not mention that?" And I said, "I'll mention it on the show."
Okay, fettuccine Alfredo is not. Okay, so because now you have to have 6 instead of 5 foods. Okay, so fettuccine Alfredo, it's not. I wouldn't know at all. I have no clue. I just know it's yummy.
It was invented here. I believe if you ask for it over there, unless you're in a really touristy place, you're not going to find it. My mother never had it until she was in her 60s, I think. She went to, one of my cousins had, like the night before the wedding, she was his godmother, so she went to the rehearsal dinner the night before their wedding at an Italian restaurant in Youngstown, Ohio, and they served fettuccine Alfredo. And she said to me, "What is this?" It was the funniest thing, But no, they have spaghetti carbonara, and they have, what's the other one? I can't think of what the other one is, but that is basically cheese on pasta. And then they'll put guanciale, which is like a pork cheek or pork jowl in with it and stuff. But there's no milk, no cream, or anything like that. They just use cheese and water. And the heat from the pasta to make it. Yeah. Yeah. It's.
I'll have to try that.
It's very good.
Is it? Yeah. Huh. We'll have to try that.
I love it. Cacio e pepe. That's what it is. It's called cheese and pepper if you translate it to English. And you cook the pasta, and then you drain the water out, most of the water, leave a little in, and then you put in Pecorino Romano cheese, and you whip it around so that the cheese melts, and you put ground pepper in it, and that's it. They say like the adult version of macaroni and cheese in Italy.
Huh. Wow.
It's one of my favorites.
This is fascinating to me, because I love the origin of food because it makes me also think about the origin of like the plants, and it goes into the folklore of a community. But food always changes, and isn't that part of it? Is we've got the Italian immigrants coming to America, starting a new life, and also having to adapt with things not being the same in Italy. Like, there's no way. I'm sorry. I've gone to as many. I want a samosa that's like what I remember from South Africa and Kenya, I haven't had one. And that's Indian food, and I know that there's different regions, so it depends on the Indian cooking it here. And I'm talking East Indian food, and it's like, so I know it's going to be different. So that's also part of this thing is that they are coming from different regions here. So there's just I don't know. It's just a different ingredient, I think. Some things will never be the same as where the original place was because of the food growth. Yeah.
And you bring that up, and I'll mention garlic because I mentioned garlic in the article.
Yeah.
People say to me all the time, how can you be Italian and not eat garlic? I have problems with it. I'm allergic to it. But I don't like heavy garlic, and Italian food is not heavy on garlic. My grandmother and mother both used to, when you heat up oil, even if you're making pasta sauce, you heat up oil, you throw the garlic in there and let it warm up to release some flavor into the oil, and then you take it out. Who is that guy? Emerald.
Yeah.
Garlic, and people go crazy. Yeah, my mother said he's not Italian. To be doing that, he's not Italian. It's like, well, that's his way of doing it. But if you go to southern Italy, the food is spicier than it is up in the north. There's a big difference. Up in the north, they use butter more than they use olive oil, because butter. Where did they use butter? France. So, and the French were up in that part of Italy at one point. Olive oil is more popular in the central and southern part of Italy. So that's where that came from. But gosh, the garlic thing I just don't get. And like I said, garlic bread, you won't find that in Italy. And they don't give you butter or olive oil unless you're in a touristy region. They'll give you that. But the bread is supposed to be good enough on its own. And if you go to most regions, the bread is really good. The only place I don't like the bread is in Florence, in Tuscany. And do you know why that is? I know you don't know why I don't like it, but it doesn't have salt in it.
Oh.
And the reason they don't put salt in it is because the de Medicis tried to levy a salt tax. So the people said, well, screw you, and stopped cooking with salt.
Oh, no way. Oh, you see,
yeah.
This is what, okay, but the salt thing is a big deal.
I'm going to have a heart attack.
Now you've got to realize the spice is a big deal. And I'm sorry, but I have to have my garlic, and I'm so sorry you're allergic to it. It is, to me, the most important thing. Garlic, it's like, I will make garlic soup, so maybe I'm Czechoslovakian in my heritage. I need to look it up. But they have garlic soup over there, and that's cool. I remember Linda Kassam, travel writer, the food, wine, and shopping diva went to, or I should say the Czech Republic. I got to get it right. And she came back with a garlic soup recipe, and I'm like, dude, I'm so in. Let me jump in the soup. Well, really, I love it. So I don't know. But this whole thing about salt and spice, that was such a huge deal in history about how spices came around, and there's the ships going through, the whole trading and everything, and now we just go to a grocery store. It's just
exactly.
Well,
and that's the thing too. I always when I take people over with me, I always take them into a grocery store, because the difference in grocery stores there and here is just amazing. We had an exchange student once that came over and took him into just an Albertsons grocery, and his eyes were as big as saucers because he couldn't believe all the aisles and all the products that we had in there. I remember trying to find canned soup in Italy the first time I spent any time there, and they had 3 different cans, 3 kinds. They had minestrone, and they had plain vegetable, and then I forget what the third one was. It's like, that's it. And, you go in our grocery stores, and we have a whole aisle of soup cans. Yeah, it's just amazing.
Yeah, it's changed.
When I first went to Kenya and I went into the store, there was American food there, Campbell's soup, but it cost you like $30 a can. I mean, everything was $30, $40, $50. It's like, no, I'm not doing that. So then you look at, okay, now there's a whole array. I mean, Kenya's awesome for vegetables and fresh meat and things like that, but that wasn't exactly my cooking skill. So it was like, all these things that I didn't know what they were. Women would arrive with vegetables stacked on their heads, and you would buy them, and I would try to find out how do you cook them. And because I didn't know what to do with them. I didn't even know what they were. And then most of my neighbors, when we moved into town, into a city, were British. And I'm just different things,
I mean, They never used them either.
Yeah,
so it's like, what do you do?
Oh, it was just trial and error until you find something that you like. It was different.
Yeah, I completely understand that.
Yeah, cool.
Well, okay, so garlic. I want to tell you, we met a gentleman, Bob Schulman, up in Odessa, Maryland, and they have this amazing bed and breakfast there, and his wife Debbie, and we've got to put this video up. We're gonna have to do it in time for your article going in the magazine. And everyone, Chris's article will be in the next issue of Big Blend Radio and TV magazine that runs January through March. So our winter spring edition, and it's a good time to get into Italian food. Just saying, there's something comforting about Italian food. But he does this trick of how to peel your garlic. He puts it in 2 bowls, and then he shakes the bowls, and we videotaped it. So we have to put it in there because it's got the garlic.
He skins the garlic without ever touching the garlic.
The knife. Or the knife. You just put the bowl between 2 bowls.
That's my way to do it.
Yeah, because it's like the fresher the garlic, the harder it is to peel, and you can't touch it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I really thought Italians like that. Okay, so the tomatoes are a big deal. That's, from what I know, tomatoes are that is like an important ingredient in Italian food.
It is. It's really funny because a friend of mine who's Irish said to me, I heard Italians don't eat tomatoes or tomato sauce. And I said, what? Who told you that? And I talked to a friend of mine who's a chef in Bologna. And he said, I said, what is the topping that most Italians put on spaghetti or pasta? And he said, the majority of Italians use some sort of tomato sauce, fresh tomatoes, stuff like that. If you look at even the photos that I sent you of the pizzas, a lot of those, they use a lot of the little like cherry or grape tomatoes on pizzas and things like that, and in pasta sauce. It's just, I've started cooking most of the sauce. Now I just cook it fresh. I'll go and buy grape or cherry tomatoes or something like that, San Marzano tomatoes, and make a sauce with that and vegetables. Just chop up a bunch of different vegetables. And we eat that now instead of, buying canned or bottled tomato sauce, because
I thought you had to use
like it better.
I thought you had to use Roma tomatoes. I remember one birthday or something, I decided I'm making pasta, but I'm going to make my own sauce. Like, I didn't make my own pasta, but it was spaghetti, right? And but I'm going to make my own tomato sauce. So I bought all these Roma tomatoes because I don't like raw tomatoes and me aren't friends unless it's heirloom and people know what they're doing to make it good, like with bruschetta and everything. Oh God, is bruschetta Italian really or no? Now I'm going I'm looking at everything different.
Okay. Okay, I have to tell you, it's pronounced bruschetta.
Okay.
Because the CH in Italian is like a K. And probably not the kind that you get. Normally, basically what they do is they'll take a slice of bread and rub a little bit of garlic on top of it and then put tomatoes on it. And that's it. And most of the times when I've had it, it hasn't even had garlic on it. It's just been tomatoes, a little bit of olive oil, salt and pepper.
No mozzarella cheese?
No.
Really? Okay, this
No.
is like a whole different deal. Okay. All right, going back to the tomatoes. So I got on YouTube, right, and I looked how to skin the Roma tomatoes. I did this whole boiling thing, and then I had to skin them, burnt myself, water, tomatoes went everywhere, put it in the crock pot, mushed them all up, threw basil and oregano or whatever in there, and decided to make my own sauce. This was a huge production. It was like a day-long thing to make this sauce because I was just like, okay, I'm making but it did taste good. There was this freshness to it that you just don't get from jarred pasta sauce or canned stuff or whatever. It was, I don't know what it was, but it was so much better. But I thought you would have to use Roma tomatoes for any of the sauces. That's what I always thought. So now I know.
No. Yeah, no, they're good. You can use a lot of different kinds of tomatoes. And I'll tell you what my mother and grandmother used to do. They had this strainer type thing where you'd put the tomatoes in, and then it looked like a strainer on the bottom and had, this flat piece on it. So they'd put the tomatoes in there and twirl this thing around, and it would take the skins off automatically and the seeds. And all that would come out was, the juice, the pulp, and stuff like that. And go ahead.
My grandmother used to just take the tomato and put it right on the burner on the stove, and just flame it a little bit, and then the skin would peel off.
Yeah, I'm going to have to find. There's a video about how to do this.
Yeah.
I'll have to look for it. One of my friends sent it to me, and it just reminds me so much of what my mother and grandmother did. So I'll send it to you when I find it.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's kind of cool to take that time, though. You may not be able to do it every single day, but to have those occasions. Like, I always thought the old school Sunday drive, Sunday dinner thing, was a cool thing. Not getting, there's the church and all that. That's not part of it and what I'm talking about. It was really about taking time and unity and making a really good meal as a family. And I kind of wish I know with COVID, maybe more of us are doing that now. It's become a daily thing. But I think what your article is so great is it gives us history of people understanding what they're cooking and what they're eating and where the origins of food are, coming from. Like pepperoni pizza, you talked about that. We talked about pizza being different. We had pepperoni pizza the other night because I was really missing pizza. And I'm like, you had just sent your article, and I'm like, well, I'm eating it anyway because it's good. I haven't had it forever.
I have to, stop anybody when we go to a restaurant in Italy and they want to order pepperoni pizza because it's like, no, you're going to get... and have to lead them towards the sausage pizzas because the pizzas there you can find them with a dry, spicy sausage that's similar to pepperoni, but is not the same thing. It's not as greasy and not as highly spiced as pepperoni is. Pepperoni, as we know it, is basically a dry sausage that's highly spiced and was probably invented by some immigrants years and years ago. I've not really looked up to see, but pepperoni in Italian has only one P, and it basically means peppers. They're, like green peppers and red peppers and stuff like that. So you order a pizza, pepperoni pizza, that's what you're going to get.
Oh, a whole bunch of
and it's
peppers.
A little bit of a shock to people, especially if you don't like peppers.
Ew.
Okay. So there. I'd probably like it. Now, what about spaghetti? We were talking about noodles. Okay, so somebody decided we're going to get into the noodle land of spaghetti. So I don't even want to say. I always said spaghetti bolognese. I don't know what I'm talking about. So, what's going on with spaghetti? Because I thought all spaghettis that we're eating were Italian. Apparently, I was wrong again.
Okay. Spaghetti bolognese doesn't exist in Italy because spaghetti is a kind of pasta, and if you remember, it's, small little tubes or thin little tubes.
Right.
Even regular spaghetti, not the angel hair, is still pretty thin. Tagliatella bolognese or au ragu is what they have in Italy. Tagliatella is a flat noodle that's probably a quarter to a third of an inch wide. And the reason they do that is because it's heavy enough to hold the bolognese sauce, which is not really a sauce. It's just a mix of carrots and celery, pancetta, which is a bacon, and ground veal or beef. Sometimes they put pork in it. And they have very little tomato in it. They'll put a tablespoon or so of heavily concentrated tomato paste, not the kind you get in a can here. It comes in like a toothpaste tube, and it gives a little bit of tomato flavor to it. But they don't put tomatoes in it, and the sauce is very dry. It's not like when we make spaghetti. and you put a red sauce over it. You know, it's swimming in the red sauce.
Yeah.
This is just almost like a chili, like what we would call chili on top of it. It doesn't taste like that, of course, but it's very good. I took a class because I wanted to see how they actually made it. And all we had were carrots, celery, onions, bacon, and we had a mix of veal and beef.
Okay. So now, now veal and beef. You talk about veal, chicken and veal parmigiana. Parmigiana. I know that.
Yeah.
Listen.
I'm not laughing at how
person.
you're pronouncing. No, I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing because, you know, people think that's another Italian dish, and they never had it over there. They have eggplant parmesan, but never chicken or veal. You have to remember, we have to remember, that meat is very expensive over there, was very expensive over there. And a long time ago, they basically grew a lot of their food. So eggplant was very cheap. It was easy to grow, so they made eggplant parmesan. When they came to the States, when immigrants came to the States and they had jobs, they had more money than they ever had in their lives, so they could buy meat. Even though the jobs weren't, you know, paying well, they had more money than they did in Italy. So they would buy meat and then adjust recipes for that. It was sort of like, I don't want to say showing off because that's not the right word, but it was like, oh, look, we can afford meat.
Yeah,
it's
to be more elite. Yeah, it's like a
it was. It's almost a sign of status. That's what it was, that they could make that. Yeah, and it's the same thing with meatballs.
If you know, if you haven't been able to eat meat for a long time, you're like, yippee.
Yeah. So, my grandmother actually used to make spaghetti sauce with chicken in it, but that's not something you would normally see. They don't normally put sauce on chicken. And I don't know why she did it. Maybe for that same reason, because she finally had meat. She grew up very poor, so, you know, coming over here, and Grandpa had a job at the steel mill, so she could afford a chicken once in a while. And to spread it among 11 people, you know, she would put it in the sauce and stuff. So that's all I can, you know, God, I wish I'd known this stuff when she was alive. I would have asked her. But like I said, it was the same thing with meatballs, too, because they didn't used to make meatballs. They call them polpette. Out of meat, they made them out of breadcrumbs, cheese, and egg.
Yeah.
And I ordered them for the first time a couple of years ago when I was in a town near where my grandparents were from, and I let some people taste them, and you couldn't tell that they weren't meat because they were cooked in the sauce. They tasted, you know, just like
I want
meatballs.
Some.
They were good.
You said, like, you know, breadcrumbs and cheese, and I mean, that sounds. I'd want that for breakfast. I'm one of those weirdos. I'll have spaghetti for breakfast. Nancy puts eggs on things like that for me. She makes, like, if we have pizza, we never finish it the night before, right? So she'll heat up the pizza the next morning and put a fried egg on it, and you've got to do the egg. You have a little bit of runniness going up. It is the best food ever. I know that's not Italian. I don't know what it is, but it's good.
But that's my kind of breakfast. It is. When I was little, I never ate cereal. I would eat cold lasagna or cold ravioli or cold spaghetti, anything like that. And my son, when he was in school, he wanted soup for breakfast. And the teacher wrote to me one day and said Jason was lying to the class that he had soup for breakfast. I said, he wasn't lying. That's what he wants. That's what he gets.
But why would you think it's a lie? Wow.
Yeah.
Because kids don't eat
different
soup for breakfast. You know, and he's weird like his mother, so he ate soup for breakfast.
Well, everybody, excuse me, that's why it's called pasta and redwine.com, you know. But but listen, I'll join you with cold pasta and red wine, but the noodle ring thing, unless it's like really, I'm weird about that, but I want to play with it now. Now I want to make. That's just a reason to play with food. I want to do something with it.
Yeah, if you serve it hot, it's just macaroni put into a bundt cake pan to look like a ring. That's all. Instead of a scoop on your plate, you're going to slice it like a meatloaf, but you serve it hot. It looked like
they mushed it down, though. Like mushed down, like so you lose the texture of the noodle. I don't.
No.
I want the texture.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Lisa. I was thinking the same thing, and it would be sort of like this thing that just wobbles back and forth, and
like Jell-O.
Oh,
like Jell-O, yeah.
Oh, ew. This is terrible.
Ew.
This is a terrible. Do not try this for your holiday party, unless you want to make people laugh on your Zoom Christmas.
No, I think you could wrap it. Like I would put like maybe spinach leaves in the pan first, and then put the macaroni. Probably, I would put layer bacon in the pan.
Oh, okay.
Then spinach leaves, and then put the macaroni. See.
Well, bacon makes everything better.
That's right.
Now
the
is that
secret of cooking.
That's okay in Italian cooking. Bacon is fine, right? We can have that.
Bacon is pancetta. Yeah, pancetta is an Italian kind of. It's round. Mm-hmm. When you buy it, instead of being in long strips, it's round.
Yeah,
I love pancetta.
Yeah, it's like little. Yeah. Yeah, I actually like that. It's a easier way to eat it in a way, depending. It's just I like it. I've had that. Now, one thing you say, like, okay, this is not the food you'll find in Italy, but, it's interesting, going to different countries, there's always the Americanized restaurant that will be, like, here's, do you know what I'm talking about? Like,
Oh, my God, do I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I was in, every once in a while, I get very tired of cured meats because at dinner time or before dinner time, they have aperitivi, so you have smoked hams and prosciutto and the sausages and stuff like that, and you get very tired of them. So one day I just wanted a hamburger. And I went to this restaurant in town that had hamburgers. It was the worst thing I've ever had in my life. It was like a hockey puck.
No.
And they just don't cook hamburgers the same way they do here. And then, and I was in the Czech Republic one time in Prague. Same thing. Wanted a hamburger, ordered it. It came in a pita bun and had gravy over it. It's like, oh my God! And then it was a hamburger.
Oh my God!
So it's like, okay.
Yeah, but did you ever have the garlic soup I was talking about in the Czech Republic?
No, but I was going to tell you that a friend of mine, let's see if I found him while you were talking about the garlic soup. He and his wife have a recipe. They got the recipe someplace, and there's a bistro in Naples, Florida that has it.
Oh, no way.
So I'll find out the name for you. He doesn't have the name of it. They just moved to Naples. So I'll ask him where it is. The next time you're in Florida, you can go and get the garlic soup. But they have the recipe from the place in the Czech Republic.
Now, living in Florida, I have to ask because, as we started going on the tour this year, we went from Colorado next year. Okay, we're going to Tampa, we're going here, and we had all these detours in Florida because of COVID and everything. But we did get to spend time in Tallahassee and Baker, which is it's outside Crestview. It's in the Panhandle. We did a lot in the Panhandle in Gainesville, a little bit in Tampa. But the thing with Florida, I was excited about because we lived there many, many years ago when we first got back to this country in 93, 94.
I don't know.
We lived out in West Palm Beach and Port St. Lucie and all that area, and Melbourne, and I was just like, you know what? I'm excited about Florida because you can get fruits and vegetables. Like there's something about fresh fruit and vegetables in Florida. And do you find that? I mean, going from Vegas, I know you can get anything in Vegas, like literally, but like, do you find that like there's just it just seems like you have like good produce there?
Well, that's one reason why we really like downtown St. Pete. On every Saturday, they have supposedly one of the best farmers markets in the country, about 2.5 blocks from our condo. And you can get all kinds of fresh fruit and vegetables there. That's why I love Italy. I think I had mentioned that to you the last time. Is, you just go down the street, there's a green grocer with fresh fruit and vegetables and fresh cheeses and stuff. And it's the same thing at this market. They have fresh bread and fresh pastries and cheeses and meats and seafood. Now they have a lot of crafts and things too. The pandemic has affected it. There aren't as many vendors, and there aren't as many people out buying. But it's okay. I was happy to be able to buy some squash and greens and things there a couple weeks ago. They just reopened it. They closed for the summer because it's too hot.
Yeah.
And I can believe that. Yeah.
Do you know we found?
But, yeah.
I was paranoid about going like northeast and up because I was paranoid about avocados, and we found really good avocados here in Wisconsin, Madison, Wisconsin. I couldn't believe it. Like, how you get like bad avocados, and it really is annoying.
It's really annoying.
It breaks my heart
my
to have bad avocados. But I actually found avocados that you open them up, and they were beautiful and delicious. And it's this time of year, so I don't understand it, but they're here, and I'm happy about it. It's just really good.
They have Florida avocados in Florida. They have the Haas avocados, but they also have these things called Florida avocados, which are huge. And I asked a guy, there's a produce stand that's open every day, not too far from us. And I went in one day and I said, so what's the difference between the two? And I guess the Florida ones have a lot more water in them. And he said, if you're going to make guacamole, you don't want to use them. Oh. I said, oh, okay. I said, do they taste different? He said, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
So I can't answer that question either. I haven't been brave enough to buy one yet because they look weird to me. But but I do like avocados, and I do buy avocados a lot. So
and they go really well with garlic.
And they go really well with macaroni and cheese in the noodle ring, the macaroni noodle ring. Here we go.
And they go very well with fresh Italian bread.
Yes.
See? They go well on toast. They go well just on their own. Living in Africa, we were really lucky. We had these giant avocados that you'd cut in half. You would eat like one half as a meal, You just, and they were just, oh my God, we were so spoiled. We were so spoiled. But I want to move over in topic because we've talked a lot on Italy and food, and I'm really hungry now. And we're going to get snowed in, and I'm going to want to pig out on everything I find. And I'm watching snowflakes come down right now. I can't believe this. What are we doing?
Snowing.
It's weird. It's different. But anyway, in the International Food, Wine, Travel Writers Association, we do this show every second Friday where we interview writers such as yourself and authors, photographers, and also destinations who come on. And we've done the last show we had Whidbey Island on, talking about wine and honey.
Oh, yeah.
And we have Birmingham coming on next January. And, we've got the destinations. So especially now, I think it's so important that the destinations do speak out so people know about what they can and cannot do in communities. And it's ever changing, but it's important to know. So I think IFTWA has done an amazing job. And we say IFTWA, everyone, for, International Food, Wine, Travel Writers Association. It's a mouthful, especially if you have a glass of wine or you've got macaroni in your mouth. But anyway, so IFTWA, so it's ifwtwa.org. You guys this year have rallied big time on moving forward with webinars and the Food, Wine, Travel, FWT magazine has kept going beautifully. So it's like you guys didn't let the pandemic stop you.
We tried not to.
Yeah,
we tried not to. Yeah, you know, travel writers, we'll travel anywhere. I said my husband and I took the ultimate road trip from Las Vegas to St. Pete a couple of months ago, and ultimate meaning, it was a long road trip, and the ultimate one we're taking because I'm not doing that one again.
I remember that on Facebook before I got cut off. That was right before I got cut off. I saw you do that. Yeah.
Well, I have a travel tip for you if you want to keep traveling during the pandemic. In the Middle Ages, during the plague, the doctors used to soak their face masks in garlic juice and wear them. So there you go. Soak your mask in garlic juice.
Oh, gosh, you guys.
She can't do that.
You.
She's allergic to garlic. She can't do that. But those big road trips are.
It wards off evil spirits and disease.
Okay.
Yeah, it does.
But you were traveling with your dog Riley, and Riley rocks. Riley is Welsh Terrier Riley. You know, amazing.
Right. He was up here a few minutes ago. He wanted to talk to you too, but I wouldn't let him.
Well, the collies have been behaved, and most importantly, the poodle here, Gus, has behaved because Nancy's corralled them in their office area. Mm-hmm. Here, it's like
they're all
talking on the show, but they all hear about food, you know. But going back to IFTWA, this is very exciting because you know, Linda Kissam, our friend, she's an amazing woman. Not only an amazing writer and just traveler, she's done so much in her life, but she has been at the helm of IFTWA for a number of years. And you are taking over her side. You're going to be the next Madam President of the International Food, Wine, Travel Writers Association, which I think is a really good transition. You guys are both amazing women. I just think this is fantastic. I know Linda, how long has she been on the president there? I mean, she did a lot. I know, like Marilyn Hill, Michelle Winner.
She's done a lot. She really has. She's been on the board a long time. She's really helped the organization. I have big shoes to fill.
But you're going to rock this, and congratulations. I think it's awesome. I was so excited to hear that you're going to be the next president. So when is your inauguration?
Well, we have our annual meeting next week, but I think it's effective January 1st.
Wow.
Okay. Wow. So that's it. You don't have to wait till the 20th.
No.
So, so just in a few weeks you'll be that. And then how long is your tenure for? How long do you get to be the president?
It's 2 years. It's 2 years.
Cool.
It's 2 years,
cool.
or until I pull my hair out. I'm joking.
So then the Food, Wine, Travel magazine, I know you're also been doing a lot of the layout, and you've got, you know, people are editing. Everybody's kind of had their hand in that to continue it forward. So what's happening with the magazine going forward next year?
I'm still executive editor. Amy Piper is going to come on as managing editor, and she'll be doing Press Pass, which is another one of our publications. But she and Noreen Kompanek are helping me edit the magazine, and then I do the layout. Cool. And then we have Deborah Brule, who does the website for me. So when people submit their, she goes over that. We have a couple of other editors, Irene Levine and Janet Smith. So we have people, you know, that help out with that. So it's very good because, you know, not one person can do it alone. And then I also have an editorial board that I go to. Like we just are announcing the editorial calendar. And I went to them last month and said, these are, you know, some thoughts I have, but we need more themes for the digital magazine. So they've come out with it, and they're just great to bounce ideas off of.
Cool. And lastly, I want to give a shout. You know, we talk about Naples. Valerie Fortney Schneider is the winner of the 2020 Excellence in Journalism Award that IFTWA has been doing for years. In fact, that is one of the first ways we connected with IFTWA. Because when Marilyn Hill was president, and we would allow like a scholarship award winner to come on the show every year. We'd do one, and that was the beginning of our partnership. And so I'm really glad to see that that's still going on.
That is, and we have another contest that just opened yesterday. Because we didn't have a convention this year or a conference, I was chairman of the conference, and I came up with the idea to have a photo contest. It's just for IFTWA members this year, but there to submit. We have 9 categories under food, wine, and travel, and they have a month to submit entries and stuff. And I've got a great panel of judges to judge that. But going back to Valerie, that article was wonderful, and she lives in Italy. I don't know if you knew that or not, but she does live there.
That's, I think it's great. I think, it was, and her article's about Naples, so I think this is great that, this whole, I think she was on a show once. Like, seriously, I gotta think back now. We've interviewed, I really do, I'm going to get it wrong, so I don't want to be wrong, but I don't want to, hurt anyone's feelings. But definitely, you guys are doing. I love the contest. I love the webinars you've been doing with everyone. Is that something that's going to move forward with IFTWAs? The webinars between destinations and winemakers and all of that you did all this year.
It is, and we're even going to add, like in February, I think it is. The editors of Food, Wine, Travel will be talking about how to market your story and so on and so forth. And then we've got another one that we'll do on photography and another one on writing. So it's going to be destinations and wine tasting and education. And
awesome.
we're doing quite a bit of stuff. Dave Nearshi took that over, and really he and Corey Solomon have run with it.
That's awesome. And I think photography is super important right now because everything is so visual with Instagram and all of that, right? But people are very visual, and it's the society we're in. And it's important to have good photos, and it's important to know what to do with them and also how to promote them.
You're exactly right. And I have, I've worked I've taught writing, I've done PR and advertising and stuff. And if you look at magazines, there are a lot of photos. And it's because we're a visual society. People will look at photos more than they will copy. And you don't need, 5,000 words to tell a story when you can have photos and, 750 words or something like that. So bigger is not always better.
Well, and there is a real talent to writing a really good caption for a photo where you're telling the story through the captions of the photo.
Exactly.
That's a real talent.
So, yeah, it is. And I hate writing captions.
I don't. Nobody wants to do it.
But here's the thing: it's actually harder to do shorter, and yet that's a technique and a talent, and it takes time to write the right thing, because if that's all that people are going to read is that caption, it's got to be badass, and that's it. You're
absolutely right.
Period.
Absolutely.
So it's like even doing a title for a magazine article. It's like, we got to get beyond visit this or explore that, experience this. I'm so tired of that. We got to get a little bit beyond.
I teach memoir. I had a group of people in Las Vegas that for 10 years basically took a memoir class for me because they wanted to, write their memoir for their family and stuff. And title was one thing we talked about a lot because I said, how many times do you go into a bookstore looking for a book and you ignore so many of them because the title doesn't sound interesting to you?
Yeah.
Which of these, and I used to give them examples. I'd make up titles for, like 3 or 4 titles for the same book and say, which one attracts you? They're all for the same book, but which one is going to make you pick up that book? And that's what you have to think of. You can't think of what you like. You have to think of your audience.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Sorry.
No,
you go, girl. It's so true. It's so true.
It's true.
So everyone, Chris's article on the 5 Italian, she's got more than 5 in there of things that you think are Italian dishes that aren't really, but they do have roots in Italy. Go to blendradioandtv.com. If you just type in Chris Cutler, you'll find it. It's Chris is CHRIS. Cutler, because we can do Chris and Cutler in different ways if we want. But chriscutler.com is also her website, as well as coldpastaandredwine.com. We love that. And you can follow her on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, right? Have I got all of them for you? Everyone
you
follow
got
you?
them.
Go.
You do.
Go
I'll
follow
put my
that
phone
red
number.
line. Follow that cold pasta and make your noodle ring, everybody. I want to see photos of the noodles. Don't. Yeah, don't. I know. It's kind of like, now I've gone into like this mood of wanting to somehow bake the noodle ring into a weird, like dry it out.
A weird shape.
No, I'm not going to get that weird, but I could. Don't tempt me to get into my weird side. I'm trying to behave. I want to take the noodles, instead of cooking them, I want to make a wreath out of it now. If I'm going to make a noodle ring, I'm going to take the noodles and make a wreath, a Christmas wreath, and spray paint it and put glitter and
that's easy.
pine cones in my noodle ring. Non-edible.
It'd be cool if you got bow tie noodles.
Yeah,
exactly.
See, that's it. Don't eat your noodle ring, everybody. Okay, so everyone, again, the International Food, Wine, Travel Writers Association, every second Friday right here on BigBlendRadio.com. You can listen to interviews with writers and also destinations. And you can go to the website to become a member. It's ifwtwa.org. But we're going to close this segment off. We're still going to go to Tyler, Texas next. But we're going to close our segment off here with Chris with the song Fresh Squeezed. So this is from Johnny Mastro and the Mama's Boys. I know. Now, Chris, what would you do fresh squeeze? If you're going to squeeze something in your kitchen right now, what would you squeeze? My new question.
Mandarin oranges.
Oh,
right. That's it, everyone. Get your vitamin C. Here it is, fresh squeezed. Again, from Johnny Mastro. Take care, Chris. Happy holidays.
Okay, thank you.
You
Happy
take
holidays.
Care.
Buon Natale.